In PHP, once an array exists, you can add extra elements to the array with the assignment operator. Remember, that's the equal sign. You do this in a similar manner to how you would assign a value to a string or a number. When you do this, you can specify the key of the added element or not specify it, but in either case, you must refer to the array with brackets. Here I have a fruit array that has 3 key value pairs. We're going to add 2 additional items to our array. To add the 2 additional items, I'm going to do this. If we save our page and go refresh in the browser, here's what the original page looked like, but when I refresh, you can see that the 2 additional items are going to be added. In this example, I did not specify a key, so each element was appended to the existing array, and it's indexed with the next sequential number. Now you can see that mango is located at index 4 and raspberries is located at index 5. It is also possible to specify the index and assign a value to that location. Any existing values that may already exist would be overwritten. If we went ahead and added another item to our fruit array, if I specified an existing index, I'll say 3, and we save, when I refresh the page, you can see that strawberries is now replaced with coconut. There's nothing in my array that now equals strawberries. That value has been overwritten by the coconut value. With this in mind, unless you intend to overwrite any existing data, you'd be better off not naming a specific key when adding values to your arrays. However, if the array uses strings for indices, you'll probably want to specify keys so that you don't end up with an unusual combination of string keys and numeric keys. It's not very common that you'll need to delete an individual item from an array, but it is possible. To delete an item from an array, we use the unset function. This function will eliminate a variable and free up the memory that it was using. When you apply it to an array element, that element is simply deleted. Let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to use unset. In the parentheses, I'll pass on the name of the array, followed by the square braces, and then I'll put the indice or the key string name, if that's the case, of the item that I want to remove. If I save now and we refresh our array, you can see that the 3rd item was now removed completely from the array. The value is removed, as is the indice. So when you remove a single item, it does not re-index the array. The code is going to simply remove that one element. No element is now indexed at position 3, and every other element continues to be indexed where they were. It is also possible to apply the unset to the entire array, or to any other variable type for that matter. If you do that, the entire array would be deleted. So if I simply get rid of the index and I save and we refresh, you can see that right now it's giving me an undefined error message, and that's because I'm trying to print an array that currently no longer exists in my application. Sometimes you might want to reset an array, so you might want to empty it without necessarily deleting the variable altogether. You can do that using the array function, or you can use the short array syntax. To do that, you're simply going to specify the name of the array, and we're just going to make it equal to an array element. And now you can see that I have the array, but it's completely empty. And then the shorthand method of doing this is going to look like this, where you're going to specify the array name and you're just going to make it equal to an empty array. So if I save and we refresh, we're going to get the exact same results. Using either one of these items, the reset functionality has the effect of initializing the variable and making it exist and defining its type without assigning a value. There are some other useful functions that you might want to use when you're dealing with arrays. I'm going to comment out my reset arrays, so I'm going back to the array that contains all of the items that we have initially created. What we'll do here is we're going to use string length to determine how many characters an element in our array may have. In order to do this, I'm going to create a variable, and I'll just call it length, and I'm going to make it equal to, and we'll use our string length function, and in the parentheses I'm going to pass on the name of the array and the index of the item that I want to get the information from. If we save and we refresh in the browser, you can see that it's going to print out 5. What we're doing is we're getting the string length of the index of number 4. So it indeed does have 5 characters. Sometimes you might want to also find out the number of elements in an array, and we do that by using the count function. That would look something like this. So I'm going to set a new array called how many items. I'm going to set it equal to count, and in parentheses I'm going to go ahead and pass on my fruit array. We'll just echo the results out, and if we save and refresh, it's going to let us know that we have 5, and that's because we have 5 items in our array. If I go ahead and add another item to my array, this number should update to 6, which it does. It is also worth noting that when you directly add elements to an array, there's a correct way to do it. You're going to want to structure your code in either of these ways. An incorrect way would be to specify the name of the array and then to not put the square brackets. So if I go ahead and add apples and I save, you're going to see that now the array itself has been replaced with apples. It's no longer an array, it's just going to be a standard variable. And you can see that I'm getting a warning that my count feature no longer works, and that's because that is a function that only works with arrays. So do be careful when you are adding items with an array. If you neglect to use the brackets, the new value will replace the entire existing array, leaving you with a simple string or a number.